Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know that we've got several folks attending that I recognize their names. I see that several folks are still coming on, so I'm going to give them just a quick minute as they join. If I can ask, I know Medea Flores, who's our center manager, is on. If I can ask Medea, can you hear me okay on your side?
Sorry, say that again, David?
I'm just wondering if you can hear me okay. Sounds like you can.
Yes. Yes, you're good. You're good.
Perfect. Again, a couple participants still coming on. So while we let them come on, today's webinar is going to be talking about the graduate certificate in 3D engineering and additive manufacturing. What I asked the participants to do is, mics through the webinar. If you have questions, you can use the chat functionality of Zoom to post your questions. Medea will be capturing those questions so that I can answer those at the end of the presentation. And if to the end of the presentation and you still have questions and you choose not to use the Zoom chat, I will allow you at the end to unmute your mic, and we can also take your questions outside of the chat room. So we can do that as well. So let's go ahead and start this morning. I will admit people into the session as they continue to come in. Excuse me. So my name is David Espalin. I'm the program advisor for the Graduate Certificate in 3D Engineering and Additive Manufacturing. This is a program that was conceived by our director of the Keck Center, Dr. Ryan Wicker, a program that started within the mechanical engineering department, but has since grown so that it's offered through the entire College of Engineering. So it's a program that we've been building up, for years, even though, maybe in the beginning we didn't think that this is what research in additive manufacturing was going to culminate into. So if you're not familiar with the WM Keck Center for 3D Innovation, unfortunately within these slides I don't have a background on that, but the WM Keck Center for 3D Innovation is a center that's focused around additive manufacturing or 3D printing. And so when we say additive manufacturing in pop culture, that's mostly recognized as 3D printing, and we're all pretty familiar with what 3D printing does, because we see that in media, we see it in magazines, we see it in academic journals, but really it's the the ability to fabricate parts in a layer by layer fashion through a set of digital files. And so the Keck Center has been around since 2000. That's when the center was founded. And so we've accumulated a lot of capabilities, whether that's equipment or expertise and knowledge about additive manufacturing. And so we're taking this knowledge of 3D printing and we've packaged it into this graduate certificate program, again, in 3D engineering and additive manufacturing. And I'm extremely excited to share the information that we have for you today through these set of slides, again, to convey the offering that we have in terms of this graduate certificate program. So I'm going to click through these slides and let's give you some information. So this program, depending on when you start the program, it could take a year, it could take a year and a half. So the way the classes are staggered, and I'll explain that here shortly, you can you can do the whole program within a year. It's a 15 credit hour program. Excuse me. It is housed at UTEP, and it is informed through the participation of UTEP ME faculty. These faculty have 10 years worth of experience in additive manufacturing, and again, these are the faculty that do research within the WM Keck Center for 3D Innovation. Even though when you register for these classes, you may not see these professors listed in the classes, in the background, these folks are participating and injecting knowledge into this program so that it makes it down through the listed professor onto the students. The printers that we use for this graduate certificate are going to be desktop printers and also industrial printers. And the style of this program is what's listed there. So it very much is hands-on. So we do 30% hands-on activities and then 70% lecture. You get exposure to state-of-the-art equipment, like what's shown on the top row in this slide. And so these are all systems that exist and reside here at UTEP. So we have machines that fabricate with a metal powder precursor to make metal parts. We have robotic systems that integrate with 3D printers. And then we have very large scale printers in our cotton facility in the Segundo Barrio area, where we can build very, very large parts. These parts can be as large as 11 feet by 6 feet by 5 feet, so very large parts. And again, we deliver content through AM lectures. We do a lot of design and process simulation, so that's some of the content that we cover in our design class. And then there's a lot of hands-on printing projects. This slide captures the overall topics that are covered through the entire 15 credit hour programs. And so the way the the program is set up is we have classes that are offered during the fall. And so right now during the fall, this coming up fall, we have the introduction to 3D engineering and additive manufacturing that's offered. And this class is also being offered the same semester. So also during the fall, we have the advanced 3D engineering and additive manufacturing course. The way these two courses are set up is we provide enough background in the advanced class such that you can take the introduction and the advanced class simultaneously. The introduction class gives you a broad perspective of all of additive manufacturing. So there's 7 process categories related to 3D printing, and so we cover them all. Whereas in the advanced class, we cover specifically 2 technologies. That would be laser powder bed fusion and material extrusion. And so in that class, we really take a look at the interaction between process and materials and how those play a role in the output of the system, meaning the parts that are being printed. And so again, in the introductory class, there's a variety of topics that are discussed, and it truly is meant to be an introductory class. So we cover differences between manufacturing and conventional manufacturing, such as machining or casting or plastic injection. Those would be our conventional manufacturing processes, and then we highlight the differences between those processes and what we do in 3D printing. We also take a look at large scale additive manufacturing, and then we look at the softwares that are used for 3D printing. And so those are the courses, again, that get offered in the fall. So the introductory course and the advanced course. During the spring, so the semester that we're on right now, or that we're completing now, we teach the design for 3D engineering and additive manufacturing course. And so this course, this is a combination of exercises, live demonstrations, we do projects and exams. And so this course very much is concentrated on the software tools that are required to use 3D printers. So we go over, Fusion 360, its advanced capabilities for doing, simulations, sculpting exercises. We also discuss, or we use extensively Autodesk NetFab. And so that's a software that you can modify files that are no longer in their parametric state. So they're no longer CAD files, but you can modify, a subset of the files that are generated. So you can, split your files, you can create lattices within your files, you can, lightweight your files, you can, in essence, introduce all the benefits of additive manufacturing into your parts. So you can do optimizations, you can do simulations, or simulations is something that we cover as well. So that's in our design class. And then our 2 other courses that are listed here. This is our Design Studio 1 and Design Studio 2. So these get offered during the wintermester and the Maymester. So the one that we have coming up this Maymester is our Design Studio 2. And then the one that we have during our Maymester is, or I'm sorry, wintermester is going to be our Design Studio 1. And again, these classes are set up that we can provide, that we do provide enough background in each one of these courses such that you can come and introduce yourself into the program at any level, at any state. For instance, if there's any of you in the audience that are interested in taking classes during the summer and you're considering Design Studio 2, you could come fresh into that course. Again, we give you a background so that you can do the types of activities that we do in that course. And the same would be true with any of the courses here. So the point is that you can come into the program at any state. Okay, and so I thought I'd share some of the success stories from previous and current participants of the program. So Hugo, so he got his master's in industrial engineering in 2018. He now works for one of the largest equipment manufacturers of 3D printers. So he works for a company called EOS, and he is a materials and application specialist for specialty materials. And he's actually located in Munich, Germany. And so he was part of the program, and then he got a job with EOS, and he in essence is an engineer, an engineer now for a additive manufacturing equipment company. The same is true for Andres Navarro. So Andres is, so he got his master's in mechanical engineering in 2019, and he now works for also an equipment manufacturing company called SLM Solutions. And so they're also a very large company too that makes these types of equipments. And so he's an application engineer located in Detroit, Michigan. And so why I like these two success stories is because it shows you that, you know, your educational background can be used in additive manufacturing, no matter what engineering field you come from. And I would say no matter what science field you come from as well. Additive manufacturing requires such diverse skill sets that, you know, we need industrial engineers, we need mechanical engineers, we need biomedical engineers, you know, we need engineers from, you know, every corners of the spectrum. So that's kind of why I like these two success stories. But I'll show you a couple more success stories too. So we also have Kinatsin. So Kinatsin is a current participant in the graduate certificate program. He's pursuing a MS degree in manufacturing engineering. And so he works for Additive. And so he's a lead manufacturing engineer there. And he helps, you know, run the Fortis 450 FDM machine. So that's one of the machines that gets used. That's a very popular FDM machine. But he helps, you know, run that system. He's also an engineer that helps develop products for that system. And he's actually located across the border in working for Additive. And then we also have Alejandro Silva. So he already finished all the courses required for the graduate certificate program, but he's finishing his master's degree. And so he works as a technologist at the Fab Lab here in El Paso. And so again, he's fabricating prototypes using additive manufacturing, whether that's material extrusion or vat photopolymerization. And so these two terms, for instance, material extrusion and vat photopolymerization, you know, they may sound foreign to you for some of the folks that are on this call now that are, you know, just now learning about additive manufacturing, or you have an interest in it, but don't have a deep expertise in it. And these are the things that we teach you within this course, you know, identifying different 3D printing technologies, understanding the materials, the constraints, the, you know, capabilities of the systems, so that once you go out there, you're an engineer and you're seeing these technologies day in and day out, you know how to apply them. Here we also have two more success stories. So this is Jesus Rivas, and he is a MS student in manufacturing engineering. And so he's currently enrolled in the graduate certificate program, and he works for Delphi Automotive Systems. And so he's a design and he uses additive manufacturing for prototyping, specifically VAT photopolymerization. And so again, this VAT photopolymerization may not mean that much to you now if you're just hearing it for the first time, but it's a very capable technology, very exciting technology where you can make very intricate, fine detail parts. And so he's located in Ciudad Juarez, just across the border. We also have Arlene Smith, so she's a great success story of the graduate certificate program, but also within the material science and engineering department. So she's currently pursuing a PhD degree. And so this summer she has secured an internship at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for the Air Force Research Lab. And she's going to be using additive manufacturing for refractory coatings for extreme environments, primarily using powder bed fusion. So powder bed fusion is another one of those additive manufacturing systems capabilities that you can print parts with. And so this is now either printing with metals, and there's also some activities, although it's very difficult, printing with ceramics. But those are some of the challenges that these engineers, once they know about additive manufacturing, those are some of the challenges that they can embark on. This slide shows the different opportunities that people have, and this is, I would say, this is a quick snapshot of opportunities that are available to students that know about additive manufacturing. So these are listed here only from what we know, and again, it's a down select of where some of our students are going. There's certainly a lot of other places that they're going to where they're using additive manufacturing, but this is just a small snapshot. So if you're interested in pursuing a career working with additive manufacturing, these would be your potential employers. So you could be working in aerospace and defense, computer hardware and software, in academia if you want to be a professor and do research in additive or teach people about additive. You can work in government, automotive, oil and gas, medical device companies. And I would say there's more as well, but this is just a snapshot of where people end up when they gain that expertise for additive. And then you see a variety of companies that work within those sectors. So companies like Johnson & Johnson, Intel, or organizations like NASA, and then you also see some of the universities listed here where some of our students have gone to. These students that have now this deep understanding of additive, they've transitioned to these other organizations. So again, I think what this slide is trying to capture is it's trying to capture your imagination. Where is it that you want to end up in, and how can additive manufacturing enable you to get there? And if you're the person that certainly wants to have that question answered, I'd love to have a conversation with you so that we can understand what your goals are and how this graduate certificate program can enable you to get to that point. Again, we're looking to enabling students to get that expertise in additive manufacturing and transition you to a final employment location where you're again exercising these additive manufacturing muscles, if you will. And so one of the questions that you may have is, well, what is an engineer that has additive manufacturing expertise? What does that engineer get paid? And so we did a quick survey of job openings in the month of April. So just last month, just the month, the month that just closed out. And so, from that quick survey that we did, and you can see where these numbers are coming from on the right-hand side, we list all the sources. So these are coming from Glassdoor.com, ZipRecruiter.com, Simply Hired, and also CareerBuilder.com. And so what you can see is that, there's essentially this AM engineer, which is like an entry-level engineer, somebody that has additive manufacturing skill sets, but maybe doesn't have the experience. And so you're seeing that they're starting off wages, starting off at $60K, let's say, per year. And what you can see is that if you then accrue 2 years of experience, you can jump into this second bracket. So the second bracket now is starting you off in the mid 70s, but really starting you off in the mid 80s. So So that's the potential of where you can get to once you have this initial skill set of additive manufacturing, and then you can continue to grow it. And you can grow that in a number of ways. So for instance, you can start off as doing the graduate certificate. You have the option of say, well, you know what, I want to stay on and do the full master's program at UTEP. So that's one way of growing it. Or you at some point transition into industry or any one of these organizations, and you then start working there, and then after 2 years, you know, you're eligible to jump into this next pay bracket. So again, this slide is meant to give you some information regarding compensation, you know, for the experience and for the knowledge that you develop within the graduate certificate program. And so this slide here is for admission and application process. So I didn't say it at the start of the presentation, and now that I get to maybe some specifics where people may say, well, you know, I need to write all these things down. Do know that this webinar is being recorded, and we will post a recording of this. So if you want to go back and listen to any of these details, you'll have the opportunity of doing that. But I say that because there's a lot of information on this slide. So the admission requirements for a bachelor's is what's listed there. So we're really looking for folks that are coming from engineering and science. And so we're looking for you to have a bachelor's degree in that area. Or if you're going to be graduating within the next year. And so you can also embark on, you know, in this program if you're an undergrad student as well. And so we'll go over some of those details because there's usually a lot of questions around that. And so for the application for this program, it's going to be very similar as if you were applying to a master's degree, if you're applying into a graduate program. So you're going to need official transcripts, you know, your resume. You're also going to need a single letter of recommendation from a supervisor or a faculty member. The application process is listed on the right-hand side for new students. Submit all documents and application through the UTEP grad school. And so, for instance, if you're a master's, if you are enrolling into a master's degree, that process, you would do that process. You would not have to do the graduate certificate process in addition. You would just do your normal master's application. If you're only doing the graduate certificate program, then you would have to do the graduate certificate application. So again, current grad students, if you've already applied to the program, and you've already been accepted into a master's program, you simply have to send an email to me or to the address that's listed here, and we can get you also enrolled into the graduate certificate program so that upon completion, you get that certificate proving your credentials in additive manufacturing. Excuse me. For current undergrad students, you would have to complete the application for the fast track. And this combines essentially the master's and the bachelor's degree. But this is the application process for undergrad students. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a master's degree. If you choose to only do the graduate certificate program, then that would be what you would do. Although I will say that once you complete the graduate certificate program, you're so close to finishing a master's. I would advise that you just go ahead and finish the master's. But again, that's an optional, you know, that would be something that the student would have to choose. The last thing that I'll say here is, you know, official admission to the graduate certificate program is not required for you to enroll in these certificate courses. And the reason I say that is because some of you on the call may be thinking, well, May semester is just around the corner and the fall semester is right around the corner. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to complete the application before I can get into, or to complete the application, and then the course is going to start already. If you are already admitted into, for instance, the master's program, you can enroll into the course even before you are admitted into the graduate certificate program. So, and again, if you have questions on how that works, you can communicate with me one-on-one and we can figure that out. What I don't want to do is I don't want the application process to hinder you from enrolling into the courses. Okay, so that in essence covers all the information that I need to deliver about the graduate certificate program, its content, its potential for transitioning individuals to where it is that they want to work, also provided information about how much these individuals are getting paid. Some of the things that I want to cover now are questions that we frequently see from students. So I've got 2 more slides that address that. So the first is, how much does the program cost? So the short answer is, it's the same tuition that a student would pay for a graduate degree. So for instance, so I guess what I'm saying is, this is not a non-standard program such that you have to pay premium tuition for it. It would be the same cost as if you were doing grad classes. So for example, resident tuition for 15 graduate credit hours is the amount that's listed there, $5,261. So again, these are just standard tuition costs that are implemented by the university. And then you also see non-resident tuition that's charged there. And again, these are these costs do not include student fees, incidental fees, course-related fees, and individual major fees. But again, this cost structure is the standard way that the university charges for graduate courses. Okay, the next question that we see quite often too is, if I'm an undergrad student, will any of these credits count towards my degree? And the short answer is yes. 2 classes can be counted as electives towards your bachelor's degree. That's if you are a student within the mechanical engineering department. If you're a student that is outside of that major, of that department, then you have to make sure you talk to your department. You have to speak to your advisor to see if those will count towards your bachelor's degree. Next question is, if I'm a graduate student, will any of these credits count towards my degree? And so the answer is yes. So if you are within mechanical engineering, all 5 courses can count towards your master's degree. Now, the department does have some courses that are required that you have to take. And so for that, if you're within mechanical engineering, you would have to talk to the graduate advisor. And so within mechanical engineering, that would be Dr. Yeron Lin. And if you need a way of contacting him, I can facilitate that as well. If you are coming from a different engineering department, you have to talk to your advisor. But I will tell you, we've got students in there from industrial engineering, manufacturing engineering, biomedical engineering. Even I've had students in there from electrical engineering as well. And all of those students, I know that these courses have counted towards their master's degree. Still, I would advise you to talk to your department to make sure that that has not changed. Okay, so then I have one more set of questions to answer. So, will the classes be online? So, because we are in the time where we're dealing with COVID-19, even this, just like all the classes at UTEP, the design course transitioned to online, and even during the summer, the offering that we have, which is the Maymester for our Design Studio 2, has transitioned to online. So that class will be online. For the fall, my preference is to not teach it online. And so I'm saying no, for the fall, it will be face-to-face. But if the university and then if the COVID-19 pandemic situation requires us to be online, then we will have an online offering. Excuse me. Next question is, which classes can I register for as of today? So again, for the Maymester, we have our Design Studio 2. So, that's starting May 18th, I believe. So that's our Maymester. And then for our fall semester, we have our Introduction to 3D Engineering and Additive Manufacturing, and that's listed as MEC 5351. And then during that same semester, we have the Advanced 3D Engineering and Additive Manufacturing course, and that's listed as MEC 5353. And as I mentioned at the towards the beginning of this call, we provide enough background in the advanced course up front in the beginning of the course, such that you can take those courses simultaneously. And again, if you do that, then you can really accelerate and take all the courses required for the graduate certificate within a 1-year time frame. Last question is, who can I speak to about enrollment? So first contact should be me. So again, my name is David Espalin, and I'm the certificate program advisor, and my email address is listed there, despalin@utep.edu. The next individual that you could contact would be Dr. Yurong Lin. And so he will most likely take your questions and forward them to me. So you're essentially going to be communicating with me anyways. But if you have specific questions, and if you're within the mechanical engineering department, you have specific questions about, how do these courses count? You may have a very specific question about, graduate school in general within mechanical engineering. He can answer those questions. But related to the graduate certificate program, chances are those questions will be forwarded to me anyways. And then from a program advisor standpoint, dealing with the logistics of getting into courses, Mrs. Ileana Solis, she's the one that's helping us getting students into these courses when there's issues, issues related to holds, for instance, if you've got a department hold, or if we need to work with a different department to get you into our course, she's been very helpful in getting students into the program. And again, email addresses for these two individuals, including myself, are listed on this slide. So that's the information that I have for you all today. I'd like to ask now Mireya Perez to, if there were any questions on the chat as we were going through these slides, to maybe filter those so we can answer them.
Yes, Dr. Espalin, if you'll allow me to share my screen, I will share those questions with you.
Okay, you should be able to do that now.
Are you all looking at my screen?
Yeah, we can see your Outlook and then the PowerPoint. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's go through some of these questions. What classes does this program substitute? So again, if you're master's degree, if you're in a master's degree, they will, if you look at a program, I'm going to speak specifically to mechanical engineering because I know the way that one works. If you look at the requirements for mechanical engineering, they are such that if you're following a thesis track, you are required to take the advanced math class and then your thesis 1 and thesis 2. All the other courses are flexible such that they just have to be, from what I understand, a 5,000 level course. So you can have all the graduate certificate courses into that program count towards the master's degree, so long as you also satisfy the requirements of the advanced math class and the 2 thesis courses that are required. Other departments may be different, so you're going to have to talk to your departments if you're coming from a different department. Question number 2, how does one register for this program? Again, if the courses, if you can already see those courses in your gold mine and you have no holds to get into these courses, you can simply do that. And then, we'll work on your application to the graduate certificate, as you learn more about this program. If you're trying to register into the courses and you have holds, again, I can help with this, and so can Ileana Solis. But contacting me first. But again, there is an application process for getting into the program, and I've already discussed that in the slides. The next question is, if we were taking the Manufacturing Engineering Lab 2131, we'll still have to take the introductory course for this program. Okay, so I will say that the introductory, so the manufacturing lab 2131 really only covers a small subset of the variety of information that we discuss in the introductory course. Certainly having taken the engineering manufacturing lab will help you in the introductory course, but you will expand your knowledge base when you take the intro to 3D engineering and additive manufacturing. So you will still have to take that introductory course at the grad level. Next question is, if we are still undergraduates, can we sign up for the Maymester summer course if we are in the last semester and starting grad school in the fall? So that's an excellent question. If you are starting grad school in the fall, and if you have already been accepted into grad school, yes, you can already register into the summer course. And I encourage you to do that, absolutely. Next question, are there classes that can count towards the bachelor's in mechanical engineering that also count towards this program? So yes, and I answered this through the presentation. If you get accepted into the graduate certificate program and you're in your last year, 2 of those courses can count towards your electives. Next question is, will our letter of recommendation for graduate school be sufficient to use for this program application? Absolutely. And I think during the presentation, I discussed that if you have already applied to grad school, it's the same process. You don't have to repeat that. If you've already applied to grad school, you've already been accepted, you simply just have to send me an email and say, I wish to also be admitted into this program. And I will communicate to grad school such that this then also becomes a part of your curriculum. Again, you don't have to do the application process twice. It's just a matter of getting you accepted into grad school, and then you can then be automatically admitted also into the grad certificate. But you need to have that communication with me. Next question is, when is the deadline to apply and to register for the program? So again, we have ongoing, the application process is ongoing. Again, because we've facilitated for students to enter the program at any point, you can make the application at any point. And what I would say is you can even submit your application in some cases after you've already started taking classes in the program. Excuse me. And why I say that is because if you're a master's program that has already been master's student that has already been admitted into the master's program, are currently taking master's classes, you can also then start taking master's classes in the graduate certificate program, even though you haven't been admitted into the graduate certificate for 3D and additive manufacturing. So we can work those details, as you're going through the program. That's the last question on this slide, Medea. Can you advance if you have other questions?
Yes, I do. Let me just forward my slide. It's not letting me.
Okay, well, maybe while Medea forwards or tries to advance the slide, let me look through the chat and see if I find other questions that maybe were not listed on there. Okay, so the question is, if I plan on becoming a PhD student, does this program count as part of the degree plan? So the answer to this question will depend on what program you're coming from. So for instance, if you're mechanical engineering, some of the credits will count. But again, I would say that the general answer to, do these credits count towards a master's or a PhD? The general answer is going to be yes, but you have to make sure that you satisfy the requirements of those degrees. So for instance, as I mentioned, master's in mechanical engineering, you're required to take the advanced math class. And if you're doing thesis track, then you're required to take thesis 1 and 2. If you're doing a PhD degree in mechanical engineering, then you have to satisfy the credits that are required, for instance, at the 6,000 level. So long as you're, meeting those requirements, then you can take these graduate certificate classes. And to gain more clarity on that, you can communicate with a graduate advisor within your department. But what I would say is, even if they don't count this, so if you're in a program and if you really want to do additive manufacturing, if you want your career to be in this exciting field, then I would say this is worth the investment. So it's an investment, both monetary and time wise. So if these classes reside outside of what counts towards your program, and you want to do want to have a career in additive manufacturing, this is the program that you want to be within. Again, finding a facility and the collection of expertise that we have within the Keck Center here at UTEP, you won't find that anywhere else. We're the only university that's offering a program like this with the expertise and the equipment to back it up. But yes, there's a lot of programs that you'll be able, programs within UTEP where you can take these courses and introduce them into your curriculum. You just have to have that conversation with your advisors, specifically if they're outside of mechanical engineering. Within mechanical engineering, we've got it pretty set up to where they count towards your degree. Next question is, do these two courses need to be taken simultaneously? Can I take the intro class? Yes. So you can take those classes separately, of course. Yeah. So there's no requirement for you to take them the same semester. Just realize that the intro course and the advanced course, and the same is true with the design course, they don't get offered every semester. They are alternating semesters. So you just need to make sure you program that into the time that you're looking at spending at UTEP. Are these slides available after this presentation? Yes, we will make those available. Is this program available or only available for seniors and graduate students? So yes, this would be for those students that are eligible to take their electives and they're also eligible to enroll into the dual credit fast track program. But if you're a student that has an immense interest in this and you're an undergrad student and you don't fill those criteria just yet, please feel free to email me and we can see if we can make any kind of special cases. You can communicate with me. I'm not saying that that's possible, but I would like to see what situation you're in and would like to plan for you to come into the program. So that's all the questions that I see that have been posted. I think what I would say is that again, we want to make this available for distribution, and I think we'll be able to do that. But if by chance we're having difficulties and we want to share additional information to those that have enrolled or come into the webinar, please feel free to, no, I think we'll be okay. We'll be able to distribute this to you all. So again, I thank everyone for attending today's webinar. Again, we hope that this information has been helpful for you. If you've got any additional questions, please feel free to communicate directly to me. We are very excited about having more individuals learn about additive manufacturing, start a career in additive manufacturing. We really feel that we have a gem within the WM Keck Center, a lot of equipment, a lot of expertise. We are very passionate about educating you about additive manufacturing and realizing, people's dreams and having careers in this very exciting field of additive manufacturing and 3D printing. Thank you all, and any follow-up questions, again, just communicate with me directly.
Thank you very much, sir.